Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our max duplicant run, aka Duplicity. Today, we have to create a Spom. As I've said in previous videos, I spend a significant amount more time in this series than I have in the others paused, looking around, making sure we're doing the right things, because every second counts. In that pause period, some of the things I found were the fact that I was getting ready to build a ladder here, which would have caused all that polluted water to drain and then just made this whole area a mess. I also realized that I probably don't want to actually compost this polluted dirt, because I could use that polluted dirt in a polluted dirt oxygen machine or even feeding some lobsters. But the reason why we have to be a little bit more concerned about creating the Spom as quickly as possible is for the simple fact that we only have 16.8 tons of algae. Now granted, there is more algae in this biome. There's quite a bit of algae in all this slime biome as well. But to give you an example of how much algae each one of these uses per cycle, we can see that each oxygen diffuser uses 550 grams per second. Well, 550 grams per second times 600 seconds in a cycle is 330 kilos. And right now, we have 3 oxygen diffusers. So we're using about a ton of algae per cycle. So yeah, we definitely have more than 16 cycles remaining, but building a Spom on cycle 28 is going to take a lot of time, especially considering we don't even have a spot picked out, most of the research completed yet, so it's going to be a little interesting. So without further ado, let's click that play button. At first look, I like this area for the Spom for the simple reason it's chilly. We don't have access to plastic or anything until we start ranching Dracos, so putting our Spom in a cold area will help keep that oxygen cool. Because if we start pumping warm oxygen, well, it's going to heat the base up and then stifle our mealwood, and then, well, we starve. The problem with this little area, though, is it might be too small. I could probably fit a Spom in there, but after we dig through and dig around to be able to build the Spom, there's not going to be a whole lot of chill remaining, depending, of course, how far over this goes. And you can see, based off our estimated dig, it's not even possible for it to go too much further to the right. So that gets me thinking about this area here. It's a little bit bigger, although it's also a little bit further away, which means it would take the dupes longer to be able to get there and back while we're actually constructing the Spom. And using our temperature overlay, though, it doesn't look like there's too many areas. There is this place down here. What's going on here? It looks like this was a regular biome, but then it got sliced off because of this point of interest building. Speaking of food, on the food update, we do have enough mealwood right now for 12 duplicants. Dirt is not a problem. We're sitting over 100 tons, and we're going to find plenty more of it here, at least for the time being, but I would like to start getting some sweetles down too. Sweetles have an interesting supply chain. The sweetles themselves, well, they eat sulfur, and they produce us sucrose. The sucrose can be used with grub fruit to make grub fruit preserve. And it's a pretty good conversion too, because 2,000 calories of grub fruit preserve plus 4 kilos of sugar is going to end up with 2,400 calories of grub fruit preserve. We can also feed that sucrose to the grubs. And the grubs, well, they give us mud. And that mud, well, we can turn that into more dirt and water. So even without a large supply of sulfur, we're going to be able to get dirt, water, and food from sweetles and grubs. Now, it is a delicate balance because you still need a sustainable source of sucrose, and the only way to get that is the sweetles. So you're going to have to run some sweetles and make sure they don't end up converting over into grubs. So I think I'm going to take this area right here and make it a sweetle ranch. Now to start off with, our spindly grub fruit plants are going to take 10 kilos per cycle of sulfur, and the sweetles themselves are going to take 20 kilos per cycle worth of sulfur. But for that 20 kilos worth of sulfur, they're going to give us 10 kilos worth of sucrose. So for every 3 sweetles, we can support 1 grub. So basically it's 3 ranches to 1, which, to be honest, I don't know if it's going to work out very well because we only have 9 tons of sulfur. Granted, there's lots more around here, but so far we don't see a sulfur geyser on this planetoid. What about our connected planetoid? No, not there either, although there are plenty of nice little volcanoes and some more water. So maybe we just start slow with the divergence. What are we dripping here? What happened? Salt water? I tell you what, I think we're going to start with one ranch. We'll make it nothing but sweetles so we can start getting a nice supply of sucrose. And I'm actually not going to close those sweetles in because if I can put some planter boxes in, yeah, they don't give the same grub rub, but they still increase the food production a little bit. So the next meal lice that we surround this place with, the sweetles will tend them, and I think it's a 5% bonus, but we'll confirm in a little bit. This place over here is already 30 degrees on this side, so that is stifle temps for the mealwood, so I'm going to have to be careful. I think I'm going to continue doing some more exploration. We are completely finished digging down through this biome here. I want to keep digging down over here to see how far this goes, to see if there's a convenient place where I can drop all this polluted water. It'd be great to start getting some wild pacu. We've also finished analyzing this polluted water vent, and it is the first of what we hope will be many water sources, and I'm actually going to change the name of this to Polluted Water Vent 1. And the reason why I'm doing this is I am keeping a notes list of every water source that we have on the colony, because that's how tight it's going to be very, very quickly for how many dupes we can support before I have to make sure to either bring water in from another colony or send a dupe away. This polluted water vent, not too shabby, with an average output of just over 2.8 kilos per second. The great thing about polluted water vents specifically is you actually get 100% of that output. Even when we throw it into a water sieve, for every 5 kilos of polluted water we put in, we get 5 kilos of water out. Granted, it does take 1 kilo of a filtration medium, hence where that extra mass comes from, but we know we'll be able to get 100% conversion, at least in terms of water. Things like your saltwater geysers and your brine geysers are not the same way. And that's because when you take salt water and you put it through a desalinator, you only get 93% back as water, and for brine, it's even worse at 70%. So the more polluted water vents we have, the better off we're going to be, as long as we can keep creating sand. I think since we are down here, I am going to open this up just a little bit for the simple reason that I want this polluted water vent to be able to keep erupting, and so we collect more and more polluted water. And if that water ended up getting up to around this point, it would end up stifling. So we'll take that into account once we figure out what is all down here. I'm interested to see how cold this area is, or rather how large it is, because we might be able to put a Spom in here. I could possibly use the anti-entropy thermal nullifier to even provide some cooling for the oxygen. That would be an interesting setup, although I don't know if this is the playthrough that I should be doing any experimentation. I have put in another incubator, this one for the sweetles, and that is the last of the refined copper we have. So I would like to start getting the metal refinery going as well, because I don't want to waste too much more copper by running it through the rock crusher. So I think for now, I'm only going to be running 5 sweetles, which is about how many that one incubator can support. And I'm also going to do a low priority sweep in here, just because we're going to have other plants and everything, and I don't want everything to get all mixed up. And now it's just a matter of going to wrangle some sweetles. Come here, little buddy. There's 2 more in here, and then, oh, perfect. There's a couple right in here. We'll grab the baby in that one, and that will give us 5. The rest will keep wild. On the research front, I am going through and seeing what else we need. We're obviously going to need hydrogen generators and heavy watt wire. Oh man, we're going to need more refined metal for that too. In fact, we're going to need conductive wire as well, and smart batteries. We're still a ways away. I have a feeling we're going to end up cutting it close with these oxygen diffusers. So I think I'm going to start tracking some sand. Oh yeah, we have 213 tons of sand, which means I can start getting rid of some of this polluted dirt by using deodorizers and turning that into oxygen as well. Now there's a couple of ways we could turn that polluted dirt into polluted oxygen. And I think the best way to go is by using the sub-limation station. That 396 kilos worth of polluted oxygen per cycle, when you divide it by the 600 seconds in a cycle, provides 660 grams of polluted oxygen per second. And this becomes a nice little train, because then we take that polluted oxygen, put it in the deodorizer, and we get clay and oxygen back. Granted, it's only 90% of the oxygen. So that 660 grams of polluted oxygen per second ends up turning into 594 grams of pure oxygen that our duplicants can breathe. So you can rough it and say 6 duplicants per sublimation station, but I'd prefer to say 5.5 just to be on the safe side. But the supply same circle here is pretty good because then we can take that clay and either heat it to create ceramic or add some coal and create ceramic. Well, we then take the ceramic, smash it back up, and we get the sand that's required to use the deodorizers. More on that in a little while. If that's the direction we end up going, I probably need to track how much polluted dirt we also have. Yeah, right now we only have 3 tons, but it is time for our first dupe of the episode. And this pod ends up being Alarat's pod. So let's figure out which one is the best of these options. Narcoleptics and can't do digging. Max would be notorious to try to get themselves stuck. And then Ari is flatulent, which you know I don't love. So why don't we take another farmer? This Hassan has a small bladder and is pacifist, which doesn't really bother us. So welcome to Duplicity, duplicate number 13, Alarat. Being that Alarat is going to be a farmer rancher, but primarily a farmer, we will double arrow on the farming and single arrow on the ranching. And the reason why I'm going into depth with the skills is because this is the first skill check I've done for this episode. So I like to take this opportunity to see who else is needing skill points and that sort of thing. Flower Girl will be going into applied sciences research. That way they can get the +2 science bonus that you do not get from astronomy. So we'll come back and get astronomy later. And the Luke is already a grilling 2 expert. That's very nice. Cots and mess tables are set. We have the oxygen. We are ready to take in more dupes. Although I should probably put some more planter boxes in here. Let's put the next 5 in this ranch so I can highlight the sweetle bonus. I'm pretty sure Clay in the last patch made the change to where critters can interact with plants inside of planter boxes. And this majestic biome keeps going further down, so I am going to end up cutting in. Question is, where do I do that? Okay, so we have a ladder here, ladder here. This looks good. Now the slime lung's going to start getting out of control, so I will take the opportunity to put yet another deodorizer down here. We'll say one here, and then I just have to bring a little bit of power down. There we go. And that way we're not getting slime lug going towards the main part of our colony. Germ-free is the way to be. I'm also digging over here on the west side of the map, and because this area is so large and it has so much slime, I'm not going to be able to get rid of the slime lung in here. But the only way to enter this area is through this path right here, and these 3 deodorizers will help keep the rest of the colony from not getting slime lung. But the dupes running around in here without a suit will end up getting a little sick, but they'll be fine. This is also a great opportunity for me to gobble up some of this gold amalgam. One nice little way to explore, especially in places like this, without having to do a lot of digging, is we can use some of these point of interest buildings just to unearth enough so we get the visibility. So by putting one dig command in here, it's going to cause a dupe to come all the way over here, which will then give them visibility on this area here. We have some bleach stone that we unearthed. I suppose I should probably get some bleach stone storage, but one of the advantages of having your debris storage area covered in water means I can actually bring bleach stone in here and it will not off-gas. And as you can see, we do have the sublimator selected, so I just need to go up there and scoop it up wherever you are. It would probably also be good to start a Draco ranch. The Draco ranch normally comes after the Spom though, so I can get access to the hydrogen that I want the Dracos to be living in. Oh my goodness, this biome just keeps going. When do you end? I suppose I don't have to worry about this. I'll just cut through this just so we can see what's going on. All that water will end up draining in here anyways, so that's not a big deal. And then I'm going to have to eventually dig down. That is a lot of polluted water. Oh, I'm wondering if maybe I should put the deodorizers right here. Now, these deodorizers do represent a significant portion of duplicant labor because they have to be refilled with sand all the time. So something to keep in mind when you're putting these all around. But once I get this area cleaned and I'm confident no more polluted oxygens over here, I can deconstruct these deodorizers. And in this colony itself, even though it's only cycle 32 and I have 13 duplicants, every single dupe is busy all the time. These mealwoods have yet to get the sweetle lick, so I'm thinking that the change that Clay made was that critters can eat off of plants that are inside of a planter box, but they can't necessarily groom them. So it looks like we need to switch over to some farm tiles. Oh, wait a minute. I do have a significant portion of clay now. So I'm going to use clay instead of dirt from now on for our farm tiles and our planter boxes. Where did this polluted oxygen come from? I'm going to fix it by using some deodorizers. I have no idea. My guess is maybe there was some slime here earlier, although there are no germs. Oh no, there are a little bit of slime lung germs in here. Slime lung's not too big of a deal, but if it gets out of control and all of your duplicants are getting sick, your duplicant labor is going to be sunk. And we have a lot of things to do. In fact, it looks like we finished up that research. Let's go ahead and grab the smart batteries. We have found another cool steam vent. This makes this whole dig and build much more complicated. This cavity here looks large enough to where this cool steam vent's going to be going off for a little while, which means it's going to inject a lot of heat. This actually makes the second cool steam vent, though. Where's that other one? Ah, here it is. You will be cool steam vent number 1, and you will be cool steam vent number 2. How is it already pod time? Let's see, who's up? Jam Mort, good luck. Oh, really, Ada? You're a beautiful +10 to cooking, but you're flatulent. Otto is trypophobic. Looks like we have our first doctor. I'm not 100% stoked about it, but doctors do come in handy when we need to start making some medicine, because we all know dupes don't get hurt in my colony, so there's no reason for triage cots or anything. Welcome to the colony, duplicant number 14, J.M. Mort. Now, while J.M. Mort is going to be the colony's doctor, well, probably one of like 15 doctors, let's be honest, for now, they're just going to be doing everything, because there are no doctoring tasks. Next up on the research front, I think it's metal refining. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff for the Spom, but the faster I can get a metal refinery up, we don't have to waste 50% of the metal ore throwing it through the rock crusher. The question is where we're going to end up putting it. This is where all that polluted water is going to be stored. Of course, there's also going to be some around here too. That travel distance is probably a little bit too far to be doing metal work. Plus, I want to wait till this cool steam again stifles itself, so it's going to be a little while. West side of the map, nothing new. And incredibly, still not another geyser. I was hoping for a salt or brine water geyser in here. So let's try cutting through this area. Oh, what a dumpster. I suppose I can start coring this out, and this will give us some visibility too. I think I'm ready to pause research. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going through it. Nope, I'm not. We need HVAC for the radiant gas pipes and the gas reservoir, and I'll probably go up here and get radiant liquid pipes as well. In our exploration here to the southwest, we have a chlorine gas vent. That's what everybody's always wanted. I'm hoping to see if there's something good in here. I'm not going to dig into that biome itself because it's a disgusting mess, but I will go down through here, through the abyssalite, and see what else we find. Thank you, Mikey Sheep, for unlocking that door. I don't think there's going to be anything that we want in here other than maybe some databanks, but more importantly, I needed to unlock the door so that I can deconstruct it, because our main ladder spine, at least this one here for exploration, is going to cut right down through the bottom here. Yes, some dupes will get chilly, but they'll be okay. Still no vents or geysers, and we're up against the neutronium here. I am utterly confused. This place apparently still has 10 unknown geysers. Apparently there is a saltwater geyser, but I just have not found it. But the dupes have seen it. Unless it was just one of the vents or geysers that the star map just let us know. But normally the dupes see them and then they pop from being unknown. Now I still want to explore down here in the south over here. So maybe I pause from digging down there because I also want to find the bottom of this. So let's just go straight down through there. And since we're doing so much digging down there, I think we will spend the time and add some more fire poles. Save a little bit of duplicant labor in the long run because we're going to be doing a lot of work down here. I think this is where our massive polluted water tank's going to be. Probably our cool water tank. And this beautiful setup here is going to be where we end up putting our metal refinery. So let's just go ahead and dig a big swath through. I'll add some normal tiles, say right about here. Actually, I will end up putting ladders here first so that I can dig out all of this as well. I mean, while we're at it, I might as well just dig out the rest of it, huh? And since we're putting some industrial stuff down here, it makes sense to add a fire pole. I'm going to end up moving this bottle emptier over because I want... Oh, no, that's not going to work. I was going to say I want the fire pole on that side because I've already built the ladders on this one, but we'll fix that. And then I'll just put the ladders back on this side so we can keep track of where our lines are. Lots of commands queued up, and 0.7 cycles till we have another dupe. Ooh, more research. In for the radiant liquid pipes. I do have a sublimation station now, so I think we're going to put one in. This is not like an ideal setup, 100% not, but it will work in the meantime. We'll have 2 deodorizers, one right next to the sublimation station. In fact, I'll put one over here too, because remember, deodorizers can only clean so much polluted oxygen per second. In this case, it is 100 grams per second, yet the sublimation station can produce 660 grams per second. So a proper sublimation station setup would end up having 7 deodorizers per sublimation station. Oh yeah. Alarat already has slime lung, as does Doritos P. To highlight what we were talking about before, that is minus 1% breathing per second, minus 3 to athletics, and they're coughing. And what this does is it means they're going to end up breathing more often. So between that and the athletics hit, it really hurts your duplicant labor. It might be smart to start putting in some oxygen masks, at least while working in this area. But we don't have that research complete, so I don't know if that juice is worth the squeeze. We have our mealwoods planted in the sweetle ranch, and you'll notice that some of the mealwoods have the sweetle tending buff. Now, it's not a lot, it's only 5% growth speed, but at a minimum, it will help counteract the loss of time that the mealwood is growing in between when it is being harvested and fertilized. And since we already have 5 sweetles, we're having sweetle eggs starting to pile up. So I'm going to make sure this incubator is on a 6, along with the rest of them. And then I'm going to put down an egg cracker. We don't have an evolution chamber yet, so the egg cracker is a perfect way to take all the excess eggs that you do not need around the colony and turn them into food. Speaking of which, I just noticed there's some stone hatchlings stacking up. So I need to copy all those. We still don't have our first stone hatch, but once we do, they're going to be going directly into this critter drop-off. These hatches are the only hatches we'll end up ever having in here. The rest of the omelets are going to be eaten, and then we'll eventually turn this ranch into a stone hatchling ranch as well. Oh, and I just realized I had unpaused when we had a pod ready. Small slip, not too bad. Only about I'm guessing a 1/10 of a cycle? This is one of those unfortunate pods where we only have a choice of 2 duplicants, and this Rowan is a suit-wearing operating farmer, but they're a Luddite, which is not great. Or we can grab a Meep, and there's 2 reasons why I'm going to grab this Meep. Yeah, they have researching, but their only negative is that they have an irritable bowel, but plus, look at those undies. Welcome to the colony, duplicant number 15, Jerry. Back down to our egg cracker, we have it set on priority 5, because all the incubators are set on priority 6, so they'll load those incubators first, and then they'll bring the rest down here. Now, we have a lot of eggs available, but we only want to use the eggs that we are ranching, so sweetles go in and hatchling eggs. The great thing about hatchlings versus sweetles is they're both worth the same amount of raw egg, which means they will both produce plenty of omelets. And here's omelets, we'll put those on forever. One of the reasons why everything is taking so long is because, and I know we've mentioned this before, but just to underscore, when you're farming this many plants, it really does hurt your duplicant labor. When you think about it, every single plant has to be harvested, every single plant has to be fed with its dirt, and then all that meal lice and everything has to be transported all the way down to the electric grill. So it's sort of the reason why we don't have a lot of throughput, and oh my gosh, this biome just keeps going. But look at all the chill available in this biome. And I'm not going to be able to dig down further in there thanks to the hermit. So we will end up shifting over. And I see no reason why this can't be a 7 high dig. So I'm going to start putting ladders every 8th tile. That will work out perfect. Ooh, I want to leave as many tiles in between this cool steam vent and the rest of this biome. So I think we'll just go down right here. And now we also have to start digging in here. I think we have all the research we need. As a betting man, though, I would say we're probably forgetting something. So place your guesses down in the comments below. But with all that being done, I think we'll take the opportunity. Nope, already found it. We need Atmos sensors. I was going to say, I'm going to take the opportunity to stop research. That way, we at least get a little bit of duplicant labor back. I can't start building the Spom until I get that metal refinery set up. And that is going over here, and we still have some digging to do. Step 1, let's put in some tiles for the metal refinery and its power requirements. I'm thinking right here is good. The great thing about using this area is when the polluted water vent is erupting, the water's going to go in 2 directions. One to our infinite polluted water tank here, and the other into this area. Oh no, who's starving? Mikey, go eat! Mikey will be fine. They have 1,000 calories. And with that in mind, we'll always have some fresh water to be able to pump to a metal refinery. Once we end up using that water in the metal refinery, we can shoot it over to this side where we don't necessarily care about how warm it is. We eventually will have to take care of that, but for our intermediate metal refining situation, this will work out just great. So I'm going to go ahead and start building that out. Starting with our metal refinery, we'll make it out of something a little robust. I guess igneous rock is going to have to be it. And for the first time, we will be throwing down some coal generators. I'm thinking 3 right over here will work perfectly. We'll need a place to store the coal. We'll also eventually be able to put down an auto sweeper because remember, we do have somebody with mechatronics engineering, and that is the wonderful Doritos P, who really hates doing it, but excels at it. We'll also end up needing a smart battery and some conductive wire, which means the last little bit of metal ore that we're going to be wasting at the rock crusher is going to be for that setup. A smart battery is only 200 kilos, then we're going to need conductive wire, so I'm going to say we need 500 kilos, which means we'll need to queue up 10 of these. I'm also going to put this on a 6, because it doesn't look like they're getting around to it very often. And part of that problem is I only have one dupe that prioritizes operating, and right now, there's a few wheels that we are running on to keep this whole system going. Look at JM Mart. I told you they wouldn't have much to do around the colony. Granted, they're not going to be very good at punching the rock crusher, considering they have a machinery skill of 1, but we're getting the copper slowly but steadily. A little bit of progress on our setup. We're digging out a little bit over here. I don't want to start draining everything from up here all the way down until we figure out how far this place goes, so then I can start coring out the whole thing. So for now, I'm just going to dig a little bit of it. That way we have plenty of places for the used up coolant to come out and drop. Here on cycle 39, it is time for another dupe. And I think we have found the colony a natural mechatronics engineer. Due to the operating and building, their only disadvantage is they can't do researching errands, which we have plenty of dupes to do for us anyways. Welcome to the colony, duplicant number 16, Broken Moon Alchemist. Here's another risk for the slime lung. I just got a suffocation warning for Lady Ruff. Remember, your duplicants plan their distance of how far they can work, for instance, underwater, based on them being healthy. They do not take into account the fact that if, well, they're losing that 1% breathing, that they may not make it back to a place with oxygen. So you really have to keep your eyes on it. Now, Broken Moon Alchemists, just like the rest of mechatronics engineers that we'll eventually have on the colony, are going to prefer to do operating, but they also need to be doing building. And since building is after operating, you want to double arrow up building. The reason why is if you get those flat or of equal priority and you put down a bunch of conveyor rails, well, your mechatronics engineers, who are the only ones who can build those conveyor rails, would be too busy running on manual generators or pounding at the rock crusher. Our first stone hatch has been born, so now our critter drop-off will be able to find stone hatches. Oh, beautiful. We will put this on 8. We already have the igneous rock in there. I have it selected here, but it's at a priority of 4, so they have not gotten to it quite yet. And I think the last piece of research we're going to get before I pause research for a little while is going to be the oxygen mask docks. They're fairly easy to set up. I can put a few in here, and while we might occasionally get some damaged, I can pump the oxygen from the inside of the base directly in. It's mostly clean, And that way I won't get as many starvation warnings. Oh no. Oh no. This is 5 tiles. How did I do that? Starvation warnings and the such. Oh, I cannot believe this. Time to go redo a bunch of work there, dupes. Where else did I make that mistake? Unfortunately, the Hermit's shipping container has been flooded, so we're gonna have a flooding message up here for quite some time. I apologize in advance. It's gonna annoy me too. Eventually, we'll be able to clean this whole place up, but it's gonna be a long, long time from now. We've finished up the research on the oxygen mask docks. I'm gonna say, well, plenty of dupes can go down there. And we'll put a oxygen mask checkpoint right here. Oh, why are these being built out of gold? No. There we go, that's much better. Now we'll need 2 things. First, a gas pump to draw in oxygen. Now the question is where? Because it inevitably is going to grab some carbon dioxide, which we could filter if we weren't being lazy. This seems like a decent area up here, because dupes aren't going to be up here, so there'll be no carbon dioxide. There is a oxygen diffuser right up here, so there should be plenty of oxygen flow going up there. So we'll just take this like this. Oh yeah. You gotta love some temporary builds. And then we'll hook the gas going right through. Then the second thing we need is a crafting station. Might as well put that right here. It will also need a little bit of power. And since this is so close to the base, the dupes will work on this pretty quickly. Unlike the incredibly slow progress we have going down here. And then at the crafting station, we just need to queue up some wonderful masks. The great thing I do love about the oxygen mask system here is it can be built all out of ore, so you really can get access to it early game without too much fanfare. I'm going to go with 7 masks, that way it's 1 for each dock, plus 1 to keep repaired at all times. So while they're waiting on the repaired unit, they already have a fresh one to go in the docks. And then I'll just do the whole deliver suit thing. Now the disadvantage about the suits is the fact that the masks do provide a -2 to athletics. And this early in the game, the dupes don't have a lot of athletics, but we already have 4 duplicants who are sick with slime lung, which is really slowing them down anyways. So by keeping all the duplicants nice and healthy, we'll be able to work a lot quicker in here. One nice update is we managed to get rid of all the clean water in here. It is now sitting in our wonderful tank. We have a couple little mops to do, no big deal. And then we can start gutting this whole area too. And after looking at this a little bit more, I think our first Spom is going to go right here in this position here. It's somewhat centrally located, and we have the thermo nullifier right here, which I'm hoping to use to keep that O2 cool. We'll see how that system ends up working. The algae update, we are down to about 12 tons of algae. Granted, we could start digging through all this and grabbing every little ounce of algae, but you really want to save that for emergencies and really press for your Spom in one of these challenges. Our little power grid here is almost at max. We're just waiting for power to the gas pump, but that's going to bring it over 1,000 watts on the potential load. Granted, everything's not going to be running at the same time anyways. I think in the next coming episodes, we will end up separating everything out onto a power spine system, but right now we just got to do what we got to do. I've got the smart battery in. We're left with 300 kilos, and I realize I probably am going to need a lot more because I also need to put this pump on copper as well, plus the automation wire. So I'm going to have to queue up some more copper. Let's say another 10. And oh look, we have another lit up pod. An anemic, a pacifist, and a Luddite walk into a pod. In this case, it's going to be this Nicola. They are quick learning, which is a huge boost. Now, what am I going to do with a rocketry building cook? I do not know. But either way, welcome to the colony duplicate number 17, Slurms. Now, with Slurm's case, I don't think I'm going to plant another mealwood. With the omelets, we should be staying positive in calories, but I'm going to have to keep a close eye on it because I do not want to get into that muckroot, which is our emergency backup just-in-case food supply. What to do with you, Slurms? I think the one that has the biggest benefit is going to be cooking, so you will go into grilling first. Slurm's priorities are probably going to be a little wonky in the future, but for now, we're just going to give them a higher priority on cooking and leave it at that. And this also reminds me, it's about time for another oxygen diffuser, and we will put it right under here. And that brings us up to 1160 watts on that power. What did I do here? Apparently I never deconstructed all that wire. So why don't I separate everything right here and then add a couple more wheels and a jumbo battery. That way we have this network, and this network now. Of course, this network is only running a rock crusher and a deodorizer. We're also starting our digging and clearing of this area so we can put the Spom in. I'm probably going to get the Spom built today, but the cooling solution is going to take a little work. Luckily, we still have Algae and only 17 dupes. But remember, that one Spom can only support 30 duplicants. So this is going to be a sort of interesting transition period. This side network here only has 660 watts on it. So in order to make this a little bit better, I'm going to add a second gas pump. Don't worry about the suffocating. It's just another slime lung dupe, just trying to find some oxygen. They'll be fine. Here's an example of a little bit of damage that we're going to end up getting if I don't put a filter in, which I don't know if it's worth it. We have plenty of copper ore, and it's going to be rare. The only reason there was a piece of carbon dioxide over here is because the duplicant was in here putting in the second gas pump. As it is now, the only time a duplicant has to come over here is to put more algae in this diffuser, which means carbon dioxide is going to land here, then float down. So I'll take the occasional 10 kilo repair cost. One minor item that's going to slow us down is this locker requires demolition. So we're going to have to move the Spom a little lower. We don't have anybody with demolition quite yet. Hey, maybe that's what slurms can do in their off time. But everything else, we shouldn't have a problem. So more ladders, more digging. Same goes with these ladders. You can't get rid of those until you have demolition, which stinks because demolition doesn't leave behind any materials, and these are all worth 50 kilos worth of plastic. But the point of interest tiles that look special can be deconstructed by anybody. We did some more digging over here, and it just keeps on going. This biome does not end. Well, sort of. The neutronium's right here. That might be one of the largest continuous biomes I've ever seen in the game. It starts way down here, goes up through here, and then all the way up. It literally covers probably 50% of the height of the map. The good news is we did get a snazzy suit out of this, and I always do my snazzy suits alphabetically, so Alarat is going to be the first duplicant. It's not a huge bonus, but every little bit of decor helps. Looking sharp. The other one was a warm coat, and this is not a chilly playthrough, so we do not need the warm coat. And look at all these duplicants. They're doing so great. Now, despite the fact that the sweetles have a 98% chance of laying more sweetle eggs, because they're not tending to spindly grub fruit plants or grub fruit plants, they've still managed to lay a grub egg. Excuse me, sweetle, can you move? Excuse me. There it is. So temporarily, we will be turning all the grub eggs into omelets as well. Cycle 45, it is time for another dupe. Mouth breather, no thank you, Abe. Max is a flatulent, so it's all up to Pay, who's a supplying doctor, who's a shabby dresser. So it looks like Pay's gonna be a pick 'em up and set 'em down dupe. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 18, Skadavy. I've started work on the Spom itself, and all of the gas pumps and the electrolyzers are made out of gold amalgam. We're also sweeping everything up, but we're not going to be able to get too much more work in here done until we get our new metal refinery situation all built, and it's taking a little bit longer. Remember, anytime I queue up a build command over here, the dupes are like, yep, we're going to go work on this. Because if the two priorities are the same, which they all are, they're all priority 5, the duplicant's going to rather go to the one that's quicker to get to. Plus, the duplicants are just very slow going through here because of the oxygen masks. But the good news is, we are down to only having 2 dupes with slime lung, and they're going to be cured shortly. Unless you're finishing off this last ladder rung, which I don't think I need to build. Yeah, we'll still get some visibility down here. Oh, is that magma? What is that? No, polluted oxygen. And yet, still no more vents or geysers. Keep playing with me, game. Oh, I just noticed there's another anti-entropy thermal nullifier down here. That makes 2 in this one biome. Cycle 48, another dupe. Oh, but the grub fruit preserve looks so delicious. 3 yokels, so we sort of get our pick of the litter. I've always found it curious how some pods have very matchy traits. Like all 3 of these dupes have iron gut, and 3 of them have yokel. While we do need more farmers and ranchers, I think in this case, Abe is going to make yet another excellent mechatronics engineer. Yeah, their traits aren't really relevant, but they do have the operating and supplying. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 19, Carolita. Looks like we're finally there with our metal refinery setup. Only thing we're waiting for is some automation. We'll make sure the smart battery is set on, let's say 9060. I'm also going to force the dupes to drop off some coal. We will reset this storage bin down to priority 4 once it's full, but for now I think I'm going to put it as a 6. Also, we have the refined metal, so I'm going to put down an auto sweeper. Granted, now I don't have enough refined metal for the conductive wire to power it, but that'll be the first little batches that we get. Everything else is all nice and queued up though, so I'm gonna go, give me a quick 25 out of the copper. Actually, I need the gold for our build, so let me get 2.5 tons of gold, and I will wait on the, and oh, I still need some copper for some wires. So let me go a ton of copper ore. This will take a little bit, but once it gets going, it's gonna be pretty smooth. Coolant's gonna come in, fill up. Once it's used, it's gonna send all the way over here and dump through here, keeping the place relatively cool considering the polluted water vent is always dropping more 30-degree water, well, at least 78 cycles out of 125 to keep the place thermally regulated, and our little coolant pond filled. Just realized Carolita doesn't have a place to sleep because I'm a bad pod. We're gonna move the oxygen diffuser over there. Gonna need some more wire, of course. I'll open it up a little bit, that way the oxygen has more room to flow. That way I can deconstruct this one and make some more beds. This time we're going with staycation cots. We've also been short on mess tables for a little while, so I'm gonna try to open this up a little bit more. What's this current room size, as a matter of fact? It is 105 tiles. A great hall can go to 120, so that room will finish off there, which means it's almost time for another mess hall already. And at last, we have power up here. I am going to set the coal generators on priority 1 and 100%, so the auto super will keep them filled, and the dupes are less likely to get the task to drop off the coal to the generator when it is in need. I've already put the storage bin down on 4. Coolant is flowing. Everything is all queued up, so I can now turn my attention back over here. At this rate, I'm going to have 30 duplicants before I even finish the Spom. But to tell you the truth, these early projects are the sort of getting everything set up so you can do other projects. Now that we have a temporary industrial area, I don't have to worry about refined metal or anything like that. And with a Spom, if we ever get it complete, I won't have to worry about oxygen for another 10 duplicants. But to tell you the truth, the next thing we build is probably going to be another Spom, because then I don't have to worry about oxygen until about 60 duplicants, as long as I can just figure out the cooling. Plus, we need to start ranching some Dracos. That's a have to, because we need a source of plastic to be able to build steam turbines. That would take care of the cooling easily, but I don't see a reason why we can't use some of this excess hydrogen coming from the Spom to power an anti-entropy thermal nullifier. Now, I think I've done this before to mixed results, so this may be a very, very bad idea. So what I think is going to happen to begin with is all of these pipes are just going to go through the cold biome and then up to the colony. The excess hydrogen we're just going to dump into the anti-entropy thermal nullifier in an attempt to keep this whole thing cool. While we have that gold being refined, I am building everything I can out of the ores, so we will start with some radiant gas pipes. I think it's going to actually make sense for it to come out this way, because I'm going to bring that hydrogen pipe down. I'm not 100% sure. The piping is going to be tight, but remember, this first run actually keeps these machines pretty cool, so we'll have it go up and then back through here, just like this. Then we have our gas bridge, and I can use regular gas pipes to come in. And then that's going to connect there. And then our overflow with all that excess hydrogen is going to come right off of this line here. Now, luckily, and to start off with, I am going to separate it right there and just put a regular vent here, because this thing is going to be siphoning out all sorts of carbon dioxide and everything disgusting. And cycle 51, next dupe. Not only is this ash can looking so sharp, they are also a near-perfect mechatronics engineering, with building, operating, and supplying, which means every facet of what it takes to be a mechatronics engineer they have an interest in. Now, they're starting with super duper hard digging is not great. I'd rather see a bonus to something else considering they're not going to be doing too much digging. And the fact that they're a loud sleeper, well, we'll work around that. But for the most part, Ascan has just what it takes to earn a spot in this colony. Welcome to Duplicant. Oh my gosh, we're already at 20 Citrus Mod. Now, the easiest way to make sure Citrus Mod is not going to wake anybody up is after you put them on the schedule, Citrus Mod goes down here, is just assign them to a different cot that you know no one else is on that schedule. So here's Citrus Mod, and then whoever we just kicked out will go find a new cot somewhere else. And I have not planted mealwood in probably 2 or 3 dupes, because we're sitting up at 150,000. Eventually this number will start going down, as we only have 16 duplicants worth of mealwood, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We actually have some refined copper now, so I will end up putting the incubators in here, and I can also increase this to 8 critters, which is going to give us even more omelets, now that I have the incubators to support 8 critters in here. And while this hatch is 23, this one is 84, and after these hatches are done, we will flip them over. It's going to take quite some time to get the hatches going, but that is okay. We have plenty of other things to be doing anyways. Update on the Spom is the power is starting to go in. We are starting to get ahead of the curve on the refined metal. Well, almost. This is about to drain it. But I have the metal refinery set on priority 6 now, so we should have a decent surplus of refined metals. One thing I can do to make this a little bit better is have the dupes drop off all the gold amalgam they can and the copper ore right over here. I will put these on priority 4 though, because they are not a priority, and I just realized I copied that. We are a little over a cycle away until we take our 21st dupe, sitting at 150,000 galleries, and our Spom is nearing completion. Next episode, we're going to be taking this oxygen, running it through the cold biome, or some sort of contraption in the cold biome, and turning this anti-entropy thermal nullifier on. It's going to take a little while to get this thing perfected, but in the meantime, we'll also be building another Spom. I might build that one up in this cold biome. That way I have 3 pipes coming in from the top, 3 coming in from the bottom, and then I can do the same over here. 3 coming in from the east and 3 coming in somewhere from the west. We will see though, because I only have 1 tank of clean water right now. We also need to start dropping all this polluted water, making this a huge tank, starting to convert all that polluted water over into clean water. It'd also be nice to tap this natural gas geyser, which is going to require steel, which we're kind of ready to start producing. But other than that, on the exploration news, there is a venter geyser over here that I'm going to have to take a look at. There's another one right here, so I'm assuming they're both going to be chlorine vents. Yay for us. But those 2 are the only ones I have found so far, so let me know if you've seen one that I have not. I hope you've enjoyed this 3rd episode. And the 7 new dupes we brought in today? Why don't you give me your thoughts in the comments below? Also, if you watched this far, you know you liked the video, so why don't you give the video that little thumbs up? It helps me and the channel out. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more in this exciting series. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.